Hello everybody, welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe, people of Earth. Welcome to part 2 of Build the GR-75 transport that was seen in the battle for Hoth on Empire Strikes Back. Echo Base leaving in an emergency, everybody's got to go, all the furnishings, the equipment, all got to be packed up. It goes in a GR-75 transport and off they go. Not a ship that can really defend itself. We've talked about that. It has countermeasures, but no guns or weapons of any kind. It's a cargo ship, but it's very cool. And I think it's got a tremendous amount of detail. Now, granted, I have added a lot more of my own, but well worth it. If you've got tanks, if you've got your Morsa Carl, one of the great go-tos for ILM, any of those small parts. I also use an old Mack truck for parts as well. Some lead wire, some watch parts, all kinds of stuff, and we get some wonderful detail. And that's what's in front of me on the bench right now. And I've dusted everything with a matte coat of black. I use the Chaos Citadel rattle can. I like the really sort of, it's really matte, it's very flat, and I just, it's a go-to for me. And then of course we hit it with our Tamiya insignia white, and I've also have used some of the Vallejo insignia white as well, depending. Now obviously you can put acrylic over your enamels or your lacquers, but you can't put lacquer over your acrylics. Don't lack it. So we've dusted all of those things to bring out all of the shading. Remember also, as I mentioned to you, this is a ship that according to the wishes of the great George Lucas himself in his notes to production, he wanted this aged heavily. That's a quote. So we can, that's music to my ears. So we can really have fun with it. I've got some interesting dilemmas here because I've looked at some of the production stills. I've also checked out some of the really cool builds out there of this scale model. Not necessarily this particular kit, but this model in this scale. And I'm thinking that we're going to get dangerously close to adding the various different colors that we need to these cargo containers. It's not going to be canon, but I think we're going to get dangerously close. We're going to have a lot of fun. The other thing I'm doing is I'm going to add some ambient light. I'm going into the ambers and perhaps a few white lights for windows to suggest that maybe, there's life aboard here. We've also, obviously, we're adding all of the blue light to the engine bells. So let me give you a quick sneak peek of that. And here she blows. I am using Evans Design Pico SMD chips, pre-resisted. It's a great product. And I have put those in the lower 3. On the top bell, or the top of the ship, which is over here. Here she blows. In the business end, I've used a 5mm in the center all the way back, and I've got 3 mils in all of these cones here, and that has all been wired up. Let me see if I can give you a little butchers of that here while we are here and showing all of our lighting off. I'm going to see if I can't pull this off. This was unscripted, as everything else I do on this channel. And there it goes. Now, you might be getting blown out, but in the studio, I'm very happy with that. Now, if I can turn this, I can't get, well, maybe I can. Let's stop saying can't. There's no such word as can't, my mother used to say. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just kind of, let me do this because I'm on an umbilical for no reason. I was trying to keep this lit, but I don't have to. I'm going to show you, hopefully, there, the detail that I'm starting to add to the inside of the center cone. Now, I think that that was worth it because it was pretty blank in there. Couple of things that have to happen. But step one for us today is we're going to get a coat of the insignia white on the rails. I've got to add these 3 rails. And I want to do that first, or at least I want to check the location, because I then need to start figuring out where I can poke through some ambient light, just some just to give it some interest, and it'll add some depth of field, I think, to the model. So that's what we'll do now. We'll get a coat of the white on the rails. I've already painted those black. We'll get these down. We can actually install them, and then we'll look to see. We'll look at. We'll pull out some. I've got some amber SMD chips and some white. We might need a little fiber optic too. Don't know. But we're going to go ahead and do that, and that will be step one of part 2. Glad you're along for the build. Let's dive in. Yeah, the nice thing about these are they are tabbed, so they can only go one way. The nice thing about that, of course, is you can't screw up the direction they're supposed to go in. So we'll just drop these in just quickly, and we'll just take another quick look at the location of this now that it's all painted up, because it does make a difference, as you can see. It's starting to look sort of a little amalgamated. You know, your eye gets lost with this color combination, so that's very cool. Looking at this, we're going to now drill our hole for our stand. We're going to permanently put it here. We can't go anywhere else. I think this is actually where it was designed to go anyway. Then we've got the cargo containers that go on here. We've got 3 on each side, and then this big truck in the middle. So I am going to go ahead and get those on, and let's take a quick look at those now. Okay, so on the engine end, we've got 2. Like that. Then in the center, we've got these little puppies. We're going to go ahead and find a place for these. Okay, that's going to go like that. Those will go on. And then these will follow on here. Like this. Okay. And then we've got these bridges that cut across. And we'll stick those on. Again, here and here, and these are for our landing gears and more cargo, of course. We know we've got, let's see, I think this is the piece that goes, let's see here. Goes on this side, so that we know. It goes like that. Okay, and we know we've got these pieces here that are going to go like this, but they're not going to affect anything except give us some eyeballs on perhaps where some light will come through there. So we've got cargo pods that are going to go quite straight across, and everything's going to get filled in. So where we've got potential opportunities are in these crevices right here. There'll be some bridging here, but I think in these crevices we're going to find a way. And what I might do is I might install the little SMD, let it dangle, and then when I build all of these up, I will just pin it between them, so you won't see where the light is actually coming from, but at least I know now where I kind of need to aim for. So that was very helpful. Okay, so I'm going to start the process now of just sort of organizing everything in its layers so that I don't lose track of where everything goes. And then I will start to sort of pick at this in terms of getting a cluster built and then move around, because I think I can do it. I think I can do it in quadrants. But it's good to get this on so that we can get eyes on it and just sort of start to understand the geography of it, and if there's any tweaking that needs to be done. Yeah, we know the orientation of these is correct, so that's good. So we just got to make sure these are lined up correctly. You can see here they're not, so we'll get those lined up correctly. This one is better, and then we'll go to town on starting to get these base clusters into our sort of base color. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and disassemble these three rails now, and get my my post permanently installed. And well, not permanently installed, I should say drilled for permanent installment. We're not going to quite do that just yet. There's no need. we talked about adding some orange light. I'm going to have it just buried inside, and so you'll see little bits of it here and there. I really like this. I think it's quite industrial. Take a look. Is very subtle, but I think if we do like we do some structured ones, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. I think it's going to add a real sense of depth and dimension to the underside of this. Now, I am planning to put a mirror on my base, so you will be able to see all the subtleties of this. But I think this is a really nice add to this visually. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna go ahead and pull. I've got these Evans design. These are Pico. And I'm going to go ahead and pull a bunch of these out, and then I'm going to decide where I want them, drill those holes and drop them in, so they'll be ready to go. I pulled a yellow as well, but the yellow's wrong. Orange feels so much more Star Wars than yellow, so I'm going to go with that. But I just wanted to sort of memorialize that. Well, I'm about to go into cargo container world, where I'm going to be adding various different colors, reds, pinks, yellows, all muted, and then if it's too bright or it's too much, I'll pull it back with some of my insignia white. One of the things that has to be done, and again, this is about process, and one of the things that I have learned the hard way is process matters. And you know, an example is right here on the bench, because we've got these blocks, and what these blocks do is they live in these hooks right here, and they hold on your armor plating for the side of the ship. And one of the difficulties we have is that this armor plating, which lives on this ship like this, if I don't get this exactly where it's supposed to be, this won't line up. So what I'm going to do, and I think the best course of action, is to pre-paint these and glue these into position like this. And then once these are glued into position, then they'll be a lot easier just to drop on here and hook. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and paint these up, attach them, and then we'll figure out where they go. And it'll be the last thing I obviously put on, because I've got all my other cargo containers to get on here. and then the landing gears will also be the last things we go on because I don't want to. I want to hit it because I will hit it. But we're getting there. I mean, look, we've got some really good progress, and I think it's really looking quite industrial and quite the way it should. Now, it does not have any washes on it. It doesn't have any detail painting at all, any of that. And I might even decide to bring this up a little bit. We'll certainly just to sort of give myself a chance to add some more grease and some more dirt. And all of that nonsense, and we haven't done any of that yet. But I would say overall, the feel of this is looking really good, really good. Oh boy, have you missed some fun! All those small cargo containers, and there are tons of them. They're everywhere now. You can just see the tops of them in the bottom of the frame here. There's all different colors, and what I've been doing is I've been painting them, and then now I have to age them. Now the reason why I'm doing a whole bunch of it now and not waiting till they're on the model is because some of them live on top of each other, as you can see in this example here. They're just all over the place. They're on top of each other. So I have to do most of the weathering and the prep on these while I still can. And then, obviously we'll continue to modify and change as we go. But it's really handy to have this this painted or have them detailed. So, they're like little Lego blocks, really. And they'll we'll be able to actually play with them as we go. So I've got a whole bunch finished here. Last night I used some markers on these. I'll show you what they look like. These have had markers on them. Now I've not put any wash on. That's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to put some darker washes, some streaking grime as basically. I want to be careful that I keep my contrast. So I'm experimenting here. Now these AKs, they're enamel based, so you got to keep your story straight in terms of what you're using. Have you ever been like me, the person who thought you were using something that was water-based and it was not? It's not fun. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm going through and I'm organizing all of my product here. Now I've got these pens, as I said, and one of the things you can do is you can do all kinds of things with them. But like, for instance, if you look at like this box, it might be fun to add just a little bit of the red to the sides of the box. If you look at cargo containers, they're color coded, and the reason why they color code them is because they can oftentimes identify where they're supposed to live on the boat, or what inventory they're actually part of. The other thing this does is it just adds, again, more color to something that's relatively monotone. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Now that's working really well. I'm very happy with that. Is it Canon? No, it's not Canon. But let me show you something, because I think this is important. This is your sort of basic monochromatic ship. Now I've not done any of my paint work on here yet. This is going to get some pink, some pinks and some grays and some yellows, very muted, but they are on here. But the point I'm making is if you look at the contrast between this and this, here, let me get you here. You can see that all of a sudden this makes this come alive. In fact, I can even do one better here. If I pull over the actual undercarriage infrastructure, which is here, and let me just sort of lay that down, all of a sudden that starts to make sense. So that is what that's what I'm doing now, and that's going to take me, well, it took me the better part of yesterday, so an entire day on painting these things. There's a lot of them. And now I'm just sort of going ahead and detailing these out, and that is that's a good thing. So I'm going to continue to do that, and then I'm going to put them into their various different containers, and then we can actually start to lay some of these containers onto the ship. Now, once all the containers are on the ship, I can then go ahead and do any of my final detail work, hash marks. I've got a wonderful set of decals from Rick Sternbach that I can use. They're a generic set of decals that he makes, primarily for the Star Trek universe, but you can use them for the Star Wars universe, especially just sort of the hashtags and little signage and things like that that should go pretty good on this. Okay, so I'm going to continue to work on all of this, and we will, in the next segment, we'll start to sort of layer this stuff on, and you'll see it come alive. It's kind of cool. I mean, I can't even get them all in the camera. These are all of my containers now, all been lovingly painted in various different forms. So now we have to start installing things, and what's interesting about that is he has provided us with little sort of markers to say, okay, put one here, put one there. So that's what we're going to do. If I tip this up, you can see the various different shapes. So, okay, we know one can go right there. So we just need to start gluing them on. But before we start doing that, I'm just making sure that I like the placement of them and the color positioning, because that's part of it as well, which is, you know, just sort of making sure that we're getting a good color combination and it all makes sense. I mean, and when I say makes sense, I mean, obviously, you just go crazy, but I want to make sure that the color combinations feel right. I'm also noticing that in the production miniature, I do see there is some more pipage along here. Don't know how much of that we're going to be able to get in, but we definitely need to start working on that. So I'm going to work on the sides, and then I'm going to start working my way up, because I need to get these lower pieces on before I can start installing these clusters. Not entirely sure why they went in this direction, but they went in that's the direction they went in, so that's what we'll do. We'll kind of follow along here, and let's it's sort of, I'm gonna be quiet now. And we'll start adding our cargo containers. doing a quick test fit of the body armor, the side panels here, because I want to make sure that if I've got any more room for anything that might be seen. I just want to make sure that I'm getting this right, and looks like I am. Looks pretty decent, so that's good. Very happy with that. So what I got to do now is just test fit the other side and see where we are, just in terms of overall aesthetic, and then we can start thinking about washes. So let me just continue on with this sort of little test fit here. There it is. Okay, that works. And then here's the other half, and looks like that's all correct. Just make sure nothing's banging into itself. There she blows. So that is an absolute result, and I'm really happy with it. Now I've got a few more cargo holds I want to pile on, just where I think there are some places where I think we could do with a few more, but according to the details, nothing goes on the deck. Now what does happen though is there is room here for, and there appears to be on the production model, some hoses right here. So and they would have been in the same type of hose that I used here, this lead pipe, this lead wire. So this feels very empty, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this up with some detail. Quick lighting test here to take a look at where I've got light on the ship, and I've got these Pico SMD chips. You can see lighting quite nicely here and being quite effective, and I really like that, but that's all I have at the moment. So I'd like to get a little more light in here, so I'm going to pull out some more light in, just add just a few more lights. I think maybe forward here there's an opportunity in here somewhere, and then of course there is also some opportunities here in these sides here to put some 3 mils. Just drill them out, maybe even put some fiber optics in here, and then I'm completely flat on the back here. There's nothing at all. There's nothing at all, and so I'm thinking that I might put like 3 lights on either side, just to give that some definition. And I think I might do that with a fiber optic. I'll drill the 3 holes on both sides. In fact, I might do it with fiber optics everywhere. There's an opportunity. Now, don't forget. Let me show you, or remind you, I should say, that we've got these, let me push this forward a little bit, and hopefully, there we go. We have got these panels that go on, and I can drop this one on quickly, which is actually very helpful to see. Just exactly where we're going to need light. There we go. So we put that on, and now it's not easy for you to see this. I'll tip this up carefully so that we can see it. There we go. There's opportunity here to put some light. And so I just got to go ahead and figure out where I'm putting light. There could be some here as well. That's a little bit of a blank spot. Although I do have a few more of these boxes, but the way this has been designed, you can't do an awful lot with it. This may sit in there nicely, and sort of does. So I may go ahead and do that, like that perhaps. But definitely there are some opportunities here to add a little more light to this, and I think I'm going to want to do that. So that's the next thing on the agenda, is to just go ahead, drill those holes, and also I think maybe one or two more of the amber lights. I do like those. They're kind of cool. The other thing that we've got is we're about to install these top parts here that go into these windows, these open windows here, and there's an opportunity to put some blue light in those just to wake them up a little bit. Not canon at all, but I think it might help this model quite a bit, and we're going to need to do that before we permanently install the bottom to the top, and that's not going to be fun, only because I'm going to have to epoxy that in, and I can't apply now. I can't apply a tremendous amount of pressure, but I couldn't do it before, if you recall, because I had to get my wires, my lighting in there, and that all has to come through the pole. So I was kind of pushed into a corner, really, but that's okay, because I think we're at a point now where this is nice and evened out, and it's hefty enough that I think it'll sit down quite nicely, and I can epoxy these in. So anyway, food for thought, as they say. But we are getting dangerously close to being able to get this that shell painted up. And then final details, we'll probably do a little bit of the weathering before we glue this down, only because it might be the only way to go. Now the good news is I have put a threaded threaded pipe, and that just sort of goes on here and threads down. So I'm not pushed into a corner here, whereas before I've always been pushed into a corner to put this on. I don't have to. Now the reason why this is this long is because my base is going to come to about here-ish, and I'm going to have a mirror on here. So I want this high enough that it looks dramatic enough, but you can also see inside. So I like this. Is it a little too long? Probably, but very difficult to find these less than 12 inches. But I'm experimenting with my posts, and I do like the idea that I'm not tied into having to put a post on a model before I go ahead and finish it up. It's going to make a world of difference in terms of my detailing, because it means I can actually support it on its feet here. It's got these feet, the landing gears, and they're in here. So it means I can actually work on it on its feet before I actually have to install this pipe, and I think that's a good thing. I picked the two colors I'm going to use to augment the hard shell of the GR-75. I'm going to go with this peachy pink called Wildling Flesh. This is War Paints. I'm a big fan of their paint. And I'm also going to use Stormwolf, which is looking a little purple here on camera, but I assure you it's blue in the studio. And we'll dust those on, and obviously we'll pull it way back as we need to with our insignia white, but I wanted to get it on. So I'm going to go ahead and pick some panels to paint, and we'll go ahead and airbrush that on. So I'm accentuating some of these panels here with some light gray, not too dark, and I'm just going to hit the panel itself and just kind of sort of accentuate them, and they'll stand out. Now, don't forget, we've not pulled any of this back yet with our insignia white. That's the last thing we'll do, just to pull it all back and make sure it all blends in. But I just wanted to sort of get these on first and just take a look at whether or not that's going to be dark enough. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that will be. I might go a little darker, actually. There we go. That's working. I noticed I've got a little pull up here. No matter how many times you seal something like this, sometimes you get a little cleanup you have to do. That's okay. It's going to get a nice wash over it. So, and the nice thing about these lacquers is they're very, very forgiving. Very forgiving. Seeing here, I've got a little bit of schmutz. Okay, I think that's going to work out really well. So I'm going to continue working on those smaller dark panels and take a look at it now, and then we'll take another look at it when it's all blended back. And here we are with the blend back. Very happy. So feels like it's got the right amount of it. So the next thing for us to do is to get some wash on here, some rain deposits and other things. Because remember, this container ship lands and it goes through atmosphere to get on planet. So we're going to have a bit of a ball with it. I did get the sensor finished, and that is supposed to be a different color, so that is correct. So we'll get that on at the end, and we'll age it down. But happy to have that finished. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hook up all of my lights, and after I've hooked up all of the lights, I'm going to actually, if you can believe this, connect the undercarriage to this. And no, I'm not going to do it on camera. So there it is, the Rebel Alliance transport ship, as seen in Empire Strikes Back, leaving Hoth and Echo Base. This is GR-75, and it was high time I got to it. You know, it's one of those kits that I picked up, as I mentioned, quite a few years ago from a guy in Hong Kong when it was a lot easier to get things from Hong Kong, although perhaps for some of you it still is. I've tried recently and it's been a bit of a struggle. But hey ho, you know, I'm glad I had it. Interestingly enough, as I looked through all of my various different research materials, I did notice that my version is not 1,000% accurate. He missed some things. There's some detail that he missed on the inside of the side armor plating that covers the ship. There's a lot of detail that was missing, some pipes and some other things that are definitely on the studio version. But it's a great representation of that, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. Hey, let's look at some beauty shots right now. Hey, if you want to get a hold of me, I'm sprueverse@gmail.com. As you know, I post most of my in the weeds, what's going on the bench photos on my Instagram account. That's @sprueverse. You can buy me a cup of coffee if you want to. That's for my charity builds, and that link is on my channel page, along with a link to the World of Wayne's merch page, where all of my Sprueverse merch is. 100% of the proceeds of that go to charity. So go get yourself a Sprueverse shirt. You'll be glad you did. But hey, as always, I wish all of you, please be safe and be well. Build something, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.